Chosen one, do not scroll past this. Whatever your thumb was reaching for, let it wait, because what you were about to hear was timed for this exact moment of your life. Your heavenly assignment has begun. Not soon, not someday. It has already begun, and there is one instruction sealed to it. Wait until it's done before moving on. Do this first, then do anything else. What you just went through is something that every chosen person who hears those words goes through. Something in your chest leaned forward, and then something else, quieter, spoke. That whisper is why you were 37, 52, or 64 years old, and still had a lot of unfinished business in your life. The book that's only partly written, the call that's only partly answered, and the healing that's only partly done. There is no problem with how lazy you are. You've never had a problem with being lazy. It seems like something has been dividing your attention, just as the end is almost here. You will see what it is for the first time tonight. Because almost no one will tell you this. The task that heaven gave you is not the big mission that you keep picturing off in the distance. Everything else is waiting for the first task, which is to fix up the instrument that heaven plans to use. Your mind, your focus, the receiver itself, and the things that are getting in the way of your life, are not random. It turned on at the same time as your assignment. There are 3 signs that your assignment is already live. I will show you them in a moment. That sneaky thing that has kept every assignment unfinished before, and the exact reason this window opened, now instead of a year ago. This and everything else you were interrupted will stay unfinished if you leave. If you stay, you'll finally understand why completing this task opens up everything else. Stay put. In the comments, type the word, began, right now to show that you know the assignment is still open, and that you are not moving on. Before we go any further, please show your support by liking this video, if this message speaks to you. Liking starts the flow of God's favor in your life, which lets supernatural speed happen. Let's start with the signs. Because you got here on purpose, and you should know how to spot an active assignment when it's on your shoulders. When you hear the 3rd sign, which is the strangest, you will know for sure that this message is meant for you. This is the 1st sign. A holy dissatisfaction that came out of nowhere. Take a look back at the last few months. Things that used to make you happy don't make you feel anything anymore. People you used to talk to, the shows you used to watch, and even some of the goals you used to really want to reach. It's not depression, but it can dress up as that. People who have eaten a lot but are still hungry feel this way. The hunger wasn't for food. When heaven gives you a task, it takes away the sweetness of everything that isn't the task. This isn't to punish you, but to help you. If your dissatisfaction is like a compass needle, it's been moving for a reason. There must be more to it than this. If you caught yourself whispering, that wasn't being rude. That was turning it on. The sudden speeding up of interference is the 2nd sign. This is the pattern that almost no one sees. You don't have chaos all over your life. It forms groups. It goes up at very specific times. And if you are honest with yourself, you will see that those times are always when you move towards something important. When you finally sat down to write, the phone rang loud and clear. You finally stuck to the morning routine, but that same week, you had trouble sleeping. You finally chose to pray once more. Seriously, a fight from the past that you thought was over came back through the door. You've already passed the limit of coincidence a long time ago. It's not bad luck when interference shows up on time. It's an answer. Someone or something responds to your forward motion, and it responds most quickly when you move toward your lesson. The second sign hides a comfort that most people don't see. Interference shows that you are smart. Nothing is worse than firing at an empty target. The fact that your steps toward meaning have been questioned shows that they are harmful to something. You've been taking the resistance as proof that you're going in the wrong direction. Read it one more time. It always showed that you were on the right path. This brings us to the third sign, the resurfacing, which is the strangest of the bunch. There have been old, unfinished thoughts coming to you without your permission for the past few weeks or months. At 2 a.m., a dream that you put away 15 years ago comes back to you through your thoughts. In your dream, someone you were supposed to forgive shows up. A skill you put away is calling to you from a shelf. Most people think this coming back is just random nostalgia. Not by chance, and not because of nostalgia. Heaven starts to pull the unfinished threads of your life back to the surface when you are given an assignment. This is because completion is about to become your season, and the threads need to be seen in order to be woven. That's why coming back feels less like a memory and more like a call. It is a stock. Heaven shows you what's still open, because what's still open is still taking from you. And you have to close what is draining you before what is coming can carry you. All three of these signs have hit you. It was flat, there were disputed steps, and old threads came back to the surface. It's not a coincidence on top of a coincidence on top of a coincidence. That makes sense. There is a name for the pattern too. The work you were given has begun. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. Now, let's take a step forward. Here's something you can use tonight. Because this kind of message should give you something before it asks for something. Do not fight that scattered pull with willpower the next time it comes on. Let it pull you toward your phone, your fridge, or your worry. Say the name out loud. Keep an eye on your body when you say this. This is interference, and it is on schedule. That is all. The pull is about half as strong after it is named because interference works best when it is dark and calling is light. It will change your week just to do that one thing. And the key you are about to get is only the smallest one on the ring. Because a tougher question comes up now that you know the assignment is due. That's the question this whole message was meant to answer. For what reason Does everything you start not end when you start it? What's with the pattern of the half done following you around like a shadow? You are about to meet the thing that made that shadow. I'm going to warn you now. It's something you can't take away once you see it. Also, you'll know why heaven told you to finish this before you do anything else. Let us open the mechanism. To do that, you need to think about a painful memory. Think about the last important thing you started but didn't finish. Feel how it all began. Things were very clear. You could see that everything was done. How the builder sees the finished house, sitting on the empty lot. You moved with power for days or even weeks. Then something changed. There was no loud death of the vision. It went away. It became less of a pull. It started to fog up. You looked at it one morning, and saw that you hadn't touched it in a month. The shame moved in where the fire used to be. Now here's the reason why. You've had your whole life to figure out that pattern. You are not disciplined. You are not consistent. You start things, not finish them. Someone may have told you straight out. A lot more likely, you've said it to yourself many times in private. And I'm going to take that explanation apart piece by piece right now, because it has cost you enough years. It would be even if you really didn't have any discipline. You would fail at everything at the same rate. But that's not your style, is it? Your list of things done is long, but they didn't matter. You have never missed a week of work at jobs you didn't like for years. You've kept promises to other people that cost you a lot of money. The way you discipline works fine. The strangest thing is that it only fails when the thing in front of you is connected to your call. There is no goal in a discipline problem. Your goals. And having goals is not a character flaw. It works like a machine. This is what is really happening. And please listen slowly, because this is the big idea that this message is based on. You were made to move as a single piece, like an instrument. The part of you that sees the big picture, and the part that does the daily tasks were made to work together. When you reach for something, your eye and hand work together. Ending and beginning are the same thing. When that connection is complete. The steps are based on the vision. The steps help the big picture. It's not hard to finish. It makes sense. The way a river flows into the sea without trying. But when that link is broken, the instrument splits in two, and neither half can speak. The dreaming half keeps having beautiful visions. Because that's what it does. The part that does the killing keeps going through daily survival, because that's what it does. There is static electricity between them where the bridge should be. You live as two people. One of you is called, and the other one is worn out. One of you sees the house when it's done. The hammer is missing from the other person. This is what we call the divided instrument. And once you see it, your whole history changes to fit the truth of it. It's clear why there are so many half-finished projects. Each one died right when the vision needed to hand off the work to execution. But the bridge wasn't there. It explains the fog that comes over you when you try to do the most important thing. It helps you understand why you can focus on trivia for hours, but not on your call for 10 minutes. The enemy of your mission never had to kill you, chosen one. It only had to make you fight. A divided instrument can't finish. And something that can't finish can't be put into service. The words above this message now mean something else. Done. Your task in heaven has begun. Wait until it's done before moving on. The mission out there is not being pointed at by heaven. Not yet. The bridge can be seen from heaven. The first task is to fix the instrument that was broken. That's the this in Do this before anything else. Not the business, not the book, and not the church. Those are in line for a repair that you are the only one who can agree to. Kindly type, not laziness, in the space below right now. If 20 years of blaming yourself finally came apart, type this to let your soul know that you finally know the difference between a flaw and a wound. You will spend the rest of this message healing the wound. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel so that God's prophetic promise and alignment can work in your life. When you subscribe, you're saying that you're ready for divine order. Right now, I'll show you how the fixed instrument feels so you know where you're going. There were times, not many, when the bridge came back on for you. They're over with you. An afternoon when time stood still, and work poured through you like water through a gate that was wide open. A morning when your prayer felt answered, before it even left your mouth. A day when you were one person again for a short time, and everything you touched moved. That's what you meant by being in the zone. You said it was a good day. It wasn't either. It was a memory of your first design that came through the static. And those times keep coming back to you. Because you know in your heart that state should be your home. Not just a place you visit twice a year. Not now, because I need to tell you how much it costs to live outside of it. There are no peaceful graves for the unfinished things in that graveyard, or the open loops in your life. Like a deposit you never took out, each one holds a piece of your strength. The unfinished book needs your attention every single day. The unresolved relationship makes it hard for you to sleep. At red lights and in quiet kitchens, the abandoned calling presses against the inside of your chest. You're not tired because you have too much to do. Picked. You're tired because you have too much that needs to be done. The heaviest thing a person can hold is unfinished business. You've been holding a whole warehouse full of it while calling yourself weak. You carry so much that someone weak could not have done it. Don't forget that. And don't even think for a second that the split instrument will stay nicely in your projects. It gets around. The fog is what breaks up your sentences. You stand in the kitchen with only a half thought. That's why you can read the same page 3 times, and still not remember anything. The slow drift is what turns a marriage into 2 polite roommates juggling schedules. Because being present requires your whole mind. And you've been giving your family a split one. It's the promotion that went to someone with only half your heart. Because to have insight, you need to be in the same room with both halves of yourself. None of those are separate issues, pick one. They have a problem when they wear different coats. And a problem with one root can be taken care of all at once. That's the good news that's hidden in the bad news. You don't have 9 broken things. You have 1 split thing. But here's the question you should be thinking about right now. That is also the right question. How did the instrument get split up in the first place if it was meant to be whole? You weren't born this way. I can prove it. Once upon a time, you finished things and lost whole days in crayons, cardboard kingdoms, and questions. One that had never heard the phrase, follow through. Because it had never been a problem to do so. That child did not go where you think they did. It wasn't just getting older. At a certain level, something certain was taken. I'll show you where it went in a moment. Let's go back in time to a summer afternoon. You're 7 or 8 years old. You are building something on the floor of a bedroom, or in the backyard. A world, a drawing, and a fort. You're not being forced to do it. It's not their job. The hands and eyes move together as one. Remember that you see it. You build it. You finish it, and then you grab someone by the arm and make them look at it. You didn't believe in finishing things. It was what happened when you really loved something. That child didn't have a unique skill that you lost later. That child was completely single. This is where the story changes. Because after that it wasn't just growing up. The numbers were run by people who study creative ability. That number should make you hold your breath. Researchers say that almost all young children work at a level of creative wholeness that can only be called genius level. When you test the same souls as adults, less than 1 in 1,000 still pass. Give that some thought. There is no lack of talent here. There is no famine on earth that takes 98 people and leaves 1. That's not going down. Picked. That is taking away. Something was taken from you between the fort in the backyard and where you are sitting now at your desk. And it went so smoothly that you beat yourself up for the rest of your life for not having it. Check out how the taking was done. You were put in rooms with only half of the instrument being fed. Where the half that measured, remembered, and stood in line got a reward, and the half that dreamed was told to stop looking out the window. Screens were made by the smartest people of our generation with one goal in mind: to break up your attention into pieces that are too small to put together into anything useful. You were sold a way of life in which being tired is normal, being in a hurry is holy, and being all over the place is just how adults are. The bridge between your two halves was slowly eaten away year by year. Not because people hated you, but because someone who is split up is useful. People who are split up scroll more. People who are split up buy more comfort. People who are divided never get to the task that would make them dangerous. Please think about one sentence for a moment, as it changes the way you see half a lifetime. The thing you've been calling a failure was really a theft. You've been sad about your unfinished life, like a farmer who is sad about an empty field, never being told that someone has been salting the ground in secret. The biggest scam of our time is not about money. This is it: strengths that were born in you. The power levels that your 7-year-old self used as often as breathing were turned down all the way down to the wiring. Then the world told you it was your fault for being dark, and gave you a bill for it. There is a name for the burning feeling in your chest right now. It's the part of you that was taken, hearing its own story for the first time. Do this then. Type the words, "It was taken," in the comments, not as a complaint, but as an apology, since you can't get back what you think you lost. The first step in the restoration is to name the theft. What's the point of getting this message now instead of 5 years ago? People who have been chosen often miss this part, but it's very important. There are 2 kinds of time in heaven. There is clock time, which is the steady ticking of the calendar that got you through every normal year of your life. And there is set time, the door that opens sideways from the calendar, the moment that doesn't happen again on the same day. In the past, they had a different word for it. For Kairos, the right time, the fully ripe season, and the tide that either moves the ship or leaves it in the sand. Your assignment did not start at the right time. It turned on at the scheduled time. And for months now, the proof has been building up around you. The flatness that shook you out of your old habits. The noise that spiked to slow you down. Making their way to the surface, the old threads. This message, which found its way into your small, bright window of attention by accident, says the exact words that your restlessness couldn't find. Picked one that isn't based on luck. That is a summons dressed like it's just another night. And there is one rule about appointed time that clock time does not have. It ends as nature, not as punishment. The tide doesn't wait. A harvest doesn't stay in the air over the field forever. There won't be any big events tonight if you move on. That's the risk. The window will just fold back into the calendar on its own. It will slowly become possible to live in the flatness again. The threads are going to sink. And in 3 years, a different version of this moment might need to be planned, which will cost more. Sometimes this window has felt like this before, and you've seen it close. You know exactly what I mean when I talk about grief. It's the mildest kind of sadness. The sadness of a door that you never heard close. Maybe you want to know why heaven is taking so long. Shouldn't the window have been opened 10 years ago, before the gray hairs, the tired marriage, and the graveyard got so big? Wait until you hear the answer. Because it's nicer than you think. 10 years ago, you would have used the chance to do better. You would have picked up the old broken tool, with new ideas, used it to make another half-done thing, and used the broken pieces as evidence against yourself. Heaven doesn't open the window for repair, while someone still thinks the problem is their own work. It waits patiently and painfully, until you have tried every way to try harder. Because the builder will only give up the tool when he or she is 100% worn out. Being tired did not disqualify you, chosen one. The fact that you were tired was a sign. You had to be completely worn out before you could accept a strength that fixes instead of pushes. But this time is different. This is why. At this point, you know about the split instrument. One window told you to work harder with a broken tool. This one says it will fix the tool itself. But now I want to tell you something I've been keeping from you until now. Please be careful before we go on. In the past few years, on the other side of the country, a small group of scientists found out something about the mind that most people who care about calling and purpose have never heard. It didn't come from a choir, because most of us weren't looking in that direction. It came from a lab. That's why almost no one in your world has told you about it. What they found gives a physical explanation for the spiritual division we've been talking about all morning. There is only one truth, not two. It will be sent to you later in this message, when you are ready to hold it. Take this question with you like a lantern down a dark hallway. Until then, what if the fog you've been fighting for years wasn't a flaw in your character but a wiring issue? What if it could be turned on again? Before we walk toward the repair, I need to put a sign in your way to warn you that this road has a trap that will catch the most honest people first. Almost always, the first thing someone does when they realize their job has begun is to do more. On top of the mess of the last one, buy another course, start a new journal, or add another routine. What does it look like? Being busy for heaven's sake can keep you from doing the one thing heaven really wants you to do. It feels like progress, and it's the most elegant fake the enemy of your assignment has ever made. Take a good look at the fakes. There is always the student who answers the phone by getting ready for the call. Yet another book, another test, and another year of getting ready. Because you never have to risk finishing while you are still getting ready. There is the dispersed servant who says yes to all good things, so that no one good thing can ever ask for everything. If you're a restart artist, you might mistake the feeling of starting over for the reward of finishing. This person collects first days like other people collect debts. Do you see yourself in any of those? Do not feel bad about yourself. All of those fakes are just a broken instrument, trying to sound whole by moving instead of fixing it. More activity through a split mind only leads to more complex unfinished business. A man named Nehemiah is the subject of an old story. It was kept safe by heaven for people standing where you are tonight, so I want to give it to you. Nehemiah was fixing up a city wall that had been broken. Everyone could see it rising because it was his job. So, his enemies kept sending him invitations. Come on down and talk to us. Nothing more than a day and a talk. Get off the wall. 5 times, they sent the same message. Nehemiah then sent back one of the most dangerous sentences ever written down. His excuse was that he was busy with important work, and couldn't come down. Why should the work stop while he went to get something else? Take your time reading that answer. Picked. He didn't say the meeting was bad. He didn't say that what they asked was too low. He said that the work was great, but that being great came with a cost, and that cost was everything that made him want to give up. Pay attention to what his enemies never did. While he was on the wall, they never tried to break it down. They always tried to get rid of the builder. That is the whole plan to ruin your life summed up in one picture. There is no reason for anything that is against you to ruin your assignment. It only needs to keep stepping down from above. Any noise, disagreement, fake emergency, or fresh start is like a letter with the same sentence inside. Down. As of tonight, you have Nehemiah in your mouth as the answer. This work is so good that I can't stop. Now, while the iron is hot, do it. In the comments, type the words, I will not come down. Read it out loud and feel what it does to your spine. Some declarations are not comments at all. It's just a bunch of stones set out in the open for interference to read. Tell me about a woman I talked to a while ago. Her story is the story of everyone in this section who wears skin. She felt called for 11 years to create a small healing space for mothers who had lost a child. She came down from the wall for 11 years. She had to start a new job. She had to help a sick parent. She started over every January, but by March, the beginning was lost in the needs of everyone else. That year, everything changed. She didn't get more time or energy. She found a smaller amount of obedience. On a card she wrote one sentence. This work is so good that I can't stop. She stuck it on the kitchen sink, so that everyone who came in could see it. That was the end of one part of her dream. Paint one room. Then one afternoon a week, which was kept secret like a meeting with the king. After 18 months, the room finally opened its doors. The first mother who went in said it felt like it had been waiting for her for years. It had been. It took 11 of them. The dream has always had a strong woman in mind. It needed one that wasn't split up. Now give this word from the prophet to someone who needs to hear it. Sharing turns on the anointing, and lets your network break through. Give the blessing to someone else. Climbers need to rest every once in a while, so take a moment to breathe with me. Take your jaw back. Move your shoulders back from your ears. Take a deep breath in and out again. Slow and naturally. Right now you don't need to strive. Right now all that is asked of you is to be present. Old builders would stop working in the middle of the day to eat bread and sit in the shade of the unfinished wall. They did this because they preferred to look at what was already there, instead of what was still missing. Failure is not having half a wall. It's still a wall. It has more stones in it than you'd like to count. Of course, it can be honored before it's done. Take a few deep breaths and stay there. You will get the message soon. Are you ready? Then I'll give you an old word, because sometimes an old language can say what our modern words can't. When the last part of the work of redemption was complete, the oldest records of the faith use a single word from the original language. Today is Tetelus Day, the job is done. But the word doesn't mean over, like in the end of a movie. It was a word that stores put on bills that were paid in full. A word that workers used to say when they were done with a job, not lacking anything. There is no such thing as stopped in the language of heaven. It means there is no more debt to pay. The older tongue of the prophets also speaks Shalom. You may have heard of its cousin Shalom. Peace is what everyone means by the word. But at their core, they both mean to finish, make whole, fix what was broken, or make up for what was lost. Choose one, sit with that. In heaven, the words for peace and completion are the same. That means your restlessness over the years was never a sign of a mood issue. It was math. Since Shalom means completion, a life that isn't whole can't feel it. It's been hard for you to find peace when you owe yourself 100 things. Language has always been telling us that the only way to get to one is through the other. Look at how the two words fit together now. The things that heaven needs to do for you are already done. Nothing owed. The work of heaven through you is Shalom, which means putting things back together after they were broken. There is work to be done, and it has begun. You don't have to earn the first word. You are being asked to get the second one. And getting it starts right where we said it would, with fixing the broken instrument. That's because a broken tool can't make anyone whole, not even its owner. This is why the instruction seemed so odd and firm. Do this first, then do anything else. Heaven isn't being picky, chosen one. Heaven is being exact. I want you to understand something about where you are because you have a very bad idea of where you are. You believe you are at the start. You feel like you've reached mile 1 of a long journey when your assignment starts, and that thought wears you out before you even take a step. Picked one, take another look. Every year of that wasted life was spent building something. Failure taught you how to use your hands. The betrayals taught you to be smart. Living in the woods for a while taught you to listen for the quiet voice over the loud ones. You thought the delay was because of the curriculum. You're not at mile 1, the road goes for 100 miles. You are at mile 90. And the only reason it doesn't feel that way is because the last 10 miles need the instrument to be fixed. Heaven never puts an assignment in someone's life that they aren't already ready to do. The activation itself is proof that the work has been done. That's why the old threads are coming back. Now think about the third sign, which is the coming back. There it is, you can see what it is. Heaven is making a list of all the things you still need to do in your life, just like a weaver does before finishing a project. Nothing was wasted, and everything is wanted. The skill that was left behind is a thread. There is a thread in the broken relationship. It's all connected, even the sadness. Colored in a way that can't be done any other way. All of them are needed to finish the tapestry that your assignment is about. So they get up, not to accuse you, but to do their job. Let me show you what's waiting on the other side of completion, since you've never been told what comes after something is finished. If you feel safe, close your eyes for a moment and watch this with me. It's morning a few months from now. You wake up before the alarm goes off, and the first thing that hits you is so strange that you lie still and try to figure out what it is. There is no weight on the inside of your chest. Their warehouse is lit up, and every day, boxes are being taken out. The one thing that's done, is sitting on the table. Not perfect but done. Something has changed in the world around you, you notice. Tuesday is the right day to call. The thought you were looking for comes to you all at once in the shower. As if it had been waiting for a clear path, it makes the people at your table see a real, life version of you. Clear eyes, present all the way to the bottom. That morning wasn't a dream, it was real. You will already remember that morning in the future. From now until then, this message will be there for you every minute. I also need to give you one more warning about the last 10 miles, because you are so close. Along the road, resistance is not spread out evenly. The threshold is where it focuses. Talk to any mom about the last hour of labor. Ask any runner about the wall that goes up 2 miles before the end. It never goes up 2 miles after the end. Find someone who has ever quit something, and pay attention to where their story ends. It breaks almost every time it gets close to the end. The fog is thickest right where the door is closest. This is the cruelest math of the divided life, but it's also the most hopeful, because it means that the hopelessness you've been feeling lately isn't proof that you are far away. It shows that they are close. Interference doesn't focus its most powerful weapons on people at mile 1. It keeps it for people at mile 90. Some people like you, near enough to finish. The chosen one read the darkness like a map when it got really dark. You're almost there. Now I need to close a loop. I started at the start of our time together, when I said I would show you 3 things. These are the signs that the assignment is being done. You have them. Why the window open now instead of earlier? You have it. And the secret system that has kept every assignment unfinished before. No changes were made to the original sentence, as it is already clear. But somewhere in the middle of this message, I also told you that scientists had found something in a lab that explains this whole pattern in the body's language. I also said I'd get back to it when your hands were ready. Now your hands are ready. And I chose to wait because a solution can only come when the whole picture of the problem is clear. You can now see the whole shape. Before I open that door, let me make the why behind everything we've talked about so clear that you could tell a child about it before bed. What's wrong with the way your life feels? Because a mind that is split can't finish. And a life that isn't whole can't be at peace. Because in heaven, peace and completion are the same word. Why don't you just be lazy? Why was it never discipline? Because your discipline doesn't work near where you're called. And a flaw that aims is not a floor, but interference that takes advantage of a split. Why now? There is an open window, so the inventory is coming up, and heaven waits for a builder to get tired enough to hand over the tool. And why did heaven tell you to finish this before you do anything else? The first task is still being worked on. It's the actual fixing of the instrument. And everything else you have to do in your life is waiting in line behind that repair. The engines are running while they wait for the bridge to hold. In 4 breaths, that's the whole message. You keep everything even if all the poetry goes away. The practical question is the last one left. The one you've been waiting to ask since you were honest and tired at the kitchen table. How does one actually fix an instrument that has been broken? Fix the problem, not just admire the report. You already have the spiritual pieces in your hands. You're calling out the interference, refusing to come down, honoring the half-built wall, and keeping the appointed hour safe. Those are important, and you will always have them. You have tried earlier versions of resolve, though, so you know how far it can go. Fix it doesn't work with the bridge you need. Not having enough willpower didn't break it, and adding more willpower to the same split wiring won't fix it either. What you've never had, chosen one, is the part that the bridges builders never told you about how it works. Take 10 seconds to get into your body before you type anything. Because a claim made by a person who is whole is more important than a claim made by a person who is in pieces. Feel the ground under your feet. Really feel them, the warmth and weight. Pay attention to where your hands are resting. Take note of how the breath moves on its own. The loyal worker who hasn't missed a shift in all the years you haven't finished. You're here. You're all in the same room for once. That feeling of being pulled together is a taste of the healing we've been talking about all night. Lock up where you are before I open it. In the comments, type, restored. First, because that's what you're saying tonight against every fake operation plan the world tried to sell you. Instead of achievement first, fix things first. Instead of the concert first, tune things first. Write it down, and then stay with me, because that claim hides the door I've been holding shut since the beginning of this message. It's time now. What the researchers found on the other side doesn't change anything that heaven told you tonight. All of that is confirmed in the last language you thought it would be. A doctor in New York City is called Dr. Daniel Barron. He has spent more than 20 years looking into the difference between minds that move quickly and minds that move slowly. He doesn't preach. He doesn't try to sell hope. He is the type of doctor who stays quiet in small spaces and lets the case speak for itself. And the first step on the way to what I'm about to talk about was a discovery that was so important that it won the Nobel Prize. This study by Dr. Roger Sperry on split brains was finished in 1981. Dr. Sperry showed through well-researched cases that the brain is not a single country. It's like having two half minds, each with its own strengths, voice, and way of seeing things. Half of them dream in holes and pictures. The other one does it with words and steps. According to the chosen one, science had found the split instrument and had proof. This part should feel like it's been here before. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Researchers talk about something they call whole brain activation, when the two hemispheres are linked and firing at the same time. The state where planning and doing move together like a hand. It's the state you lived in when you were 7 and built kingdoms on your bedroom floor. You've felt this way on those rare days when time stopped and work just flowed through you. And it's the state that most of us lost. Not because our brains are broken, but because we never have to use both halves together in modern life. And when we don't have to, they just sit there. You may have been through this area before. You may have tried the popular tracks and tones that claim to calm the mind, but didn't feel anything, and quietly decided that this whole path leads nowhere. Pay close attention. That's not this. Researchers who are really interested have moved on from those methods years ago. It's completely different from what Dr. Barron and the small group of people working with him came up with. For a much better and simpler question, they asked it. What kind of sound pattern could get both hemispheres to fire at the same time, until the bridge between them can handle traffic again? They built that after years of getting better at it. They used what they call neural sync technology to make a single 8-minute targeted sound sequence. Their name for it is Genius Switch, and the name fits because what they found wasn't hype. There was a quiet shock. They said they listened with headphones on and closed their eyes for 8 minutes. Then they went about their day and noticed that the fog was getting thinner over the next few weeks. That word stopped dropping out of sentences, and the thing they had put off for years looked like it could be started and finished all of a sudden. An American woman wrote that she felt like life was happening to her, instead of to her for the first time as an adult. A man from Texas who runs a small online store said that the ideas he needed were hiding in a room that his mind had never been able to get into. Because a single idea changed the way he ran his whole business in the months after he started. This road has been walked by more than 18,000 regular Americans. The theme of their stories is the same theme that this whole message is following. When the piece is put back together, completion is no longer a war. Know what this is not and what it is. Not having to meditate for an hour, remember statements, or add another discipline on top of the ones that you already do won't help. You don't even know it's happening while you close your eyes and sit there. 8 minutes. Nothing falls apart if you miss a day. You just come back. In simple terms, it's the wooden part of the bridge you've been spiritually rebuilding for the past hour. The protected hour, the refusal to come down, and the name of interference are still your covenant work. The Genius Switch reconnects the wiring under that covenant, so your mind doesn't have to fight your own assignment for once. I'll tell you how much it costs because you deserve to hear the truth tonight. People in his field told Dr. Barron that something like this could really be worth $500 when they saw the results. And since I know how much not finishing something costs a person's life, I don't think they were exaggerating. It came out instead for $49. It's currently $39 on the page linked to this message, the page in the description below, and the pinned comment. That's an extra 10 off, but no one has promised that price will stay that low past today. Our 39 picked. For a reason we can finally name, you have spent more than that on a dinner you can't remember in order to calm down. Also, they won't let risk stand at this door. There is a 100% money-back guarantee on the Genius Switch. If the fog doesn't clear after weeks of listening. If your unfinished life doesn't start to move, you ask, and no matter how many times you press play, every dollar comes back to you. Moving on and not making any changes is the only way to lose here, just like it has been for 20 years. You'll also get 4 gifts when you claim it today. One of the most well-known voices in that field leads you through a guided visualization. Imagine that your life is over and you are rich, happy, healthy, and in love. This is a grocery list that shows you the 10 common American foods that make you fat, along with some easy ways to save money every month. A classic book from more than 100 years ago, about the allure of plenty. The main text that a lot of modern teaching steals from, along with a beautifully designed page of the 5 habits that will help you build a better future. It was made to be printed out and put where you will see it every morning. One last thing. This is the most important sentence in this part. Not everyone can use the Genius Switch. This is for the chosen one, who has finally seen the instrument that has been split, and doesn't want to carry it split for another year. If that's not you, I want you to keep every spiritual key from tonight. You can have them for free. Some part of you may have been leaning forward for a few minutes now. That leaning is not curiosity, it is recognition. There is a link in both the description and the comment that was pinned. When this message tells you to be quiet and open the door. One more thing, eye to eye, because trust is the only thing that matters between us. I did not make this tool, and I am not joking when I say these things. I share it for one reason. Everything you learned tonight from this message. There are no costs for any of the keys, practices, or reframes. You can leave this room with them all and not pay a dime. But I've seen too many chosen ones bravely rebuild the spiritual half of the bridge only to fail every year because the physical half stayed out. If a quiet 8-minute practice can close that gap, then it would not have been humble to keep quiet about it. It would have been careless. So take your time and weigh it. No one, not even heaven, is in a hurry. A tool is just a tool. The task is yours no matter what. And the God who started it will see it through to the end with you. What you should not do. The only thing this message is meant to stop is the old, familiar motion. The nod, the good intentions, the scroll moving forward, and one more stone added to the graveyard. No matter what you choose something about the tool. The only wrong answer left is, not sure. I can hear the 3 voices inside you now. And I want to answer each one directly, because voices that aren't answered lead to exits. The first voice says, I've tried everything, but nothing helps. You were chosen, now look at what you tried. You tried effort systems with an instrument that was split up. If you test lamps in a house when the power goes out and decide that they don't work, that's the same thing. You never tried to fix it. As many times as you try to open the same locked door, one turn of a real key is not the same thing. And the times you've been let down in the past, don't say anything about what a fresh mind can do. The second voice is less loud and older. It says, it is too late for me. Too many years. Too many stones in the graveyard. Let Nehemiah answer that one. The wall he rebuilt had been rubble for 140 years and it rose in 52 days. Heaven specializes in exactly this arithmetic. Decades of ruin, weeks of restoration. Because restoration does not retrace the road of the ruin. It comes by a different road entirely. Your unfinished years are not subtracted from you. We saw it already. They are the threads reporting for duty. The only thing it is truly too late for is to keep living divided. And the third voice whispers the oldest lie in this whole territory. Who are you to be chosen for an assignment? Look at your record. Chosen one. Turn that record over. The interference we have traced all night. The scheduled chaos, the fog that aims. The artillery saved for mile 90. None of that is spent on random people. You have been treated your entire life as a threat. The enemy of your assignment has never once doubted your calling. You are literally the last person in the room still questioning it. So let the voices sit down, and let me place the protocol in your hands. The practical shape of your first 7 days. I call it the completion protocol, and it has 3 moves. Move 1 will offend your ambition. Do not begin with the most important thread, begin with the least one. Tonight or tomorrow, choose something absurdly small that has been open for months. The drawer, the email, the phone call, the 10-minute task, and close it completely. Then close one small loop every day, 1 per day for 7 days. This is not busy work. Every completion, however small, is a message sent down the wiring, saying the bridge is open again. And the momentum of small closures is what carries the mind toward the great one. You are not doing chores. You are retraining an instrument. Move 2. Protect one appointed hour each week as if a king had booked it because one has. It goes in the calendar under a name no one questions. And it belongs to the one great thread heaven has been resurfacing. The one you already know. The one that made your chest tighten 3 separate times tonight. In that hour you do not prepare, research or reorganize. You lay stones and move 3 open each of those days, with 8 quiet minutes of restoration, before anything else touches you. Eyes closed stillness, the practice you now understand. Whether that is the tool we spoke of doing its silent work in your headphones, or simple breath, and naming until the gathered feeling comes. Restoration first, then the day. That is the whole protocol. 7 days, 7 small closures, 1 protected hour, 8 minutes each morning. Measure it one way only. On day 7, one thread of your life that was open is fully verifiably closed. And before the protocol begins, there is a stone you need to set down, because you cannot lay new stones, while your hands are full of an old one. I want you to picture it. In your mind, see the label you have carried since childhood. The one that says starter, not finisher. See the words scratched into a gray stone, worn smooth from years of your own grip. Feel its familiar weight. How it has ridden in your chest to every new beginning, whispering its prophecy. Now slowly set it down on the ground outside the wall you are building. You do not have to throw it or shatter it. Just open your hand, and let the earth hold what you no longer will. Notice how your shoulders sit when the hand comes back empty. That lightness is not imagination. It is accuracy. The label was never yours. It belonged to the divided years, and the divided years are ending. One more honest word about the 7 days, so that no false expectation can rob you later. I cannot promise you fireworks by Friday, and I refuse to, because heaven writes each restoration on its own calendar. What I can tell you is what the pattern has been. First, the small closures start to feel strangely good, almost physical, like a joint returning to its socket. Then, the fog begins to argue less when you sit down to the work. Then somewhere past the first week for some, and the first month for others, comes the day you realize, you have stopped negotiating with the wall. You just go to it. Do not measure the road by any single morning. Measure it by the direction and walk. Now lift your eyes further down the road, because you deserve to see what this is actually for. It was never just about you. Watch the second morning with me. The one a few years out. There is a younger person at your table, a child, a grandchild, a mentee. Someone whose eyes follow you the way eyes follow whatever they are secretly studying. And what they are studying without either of you naming it is a finisher. The first one, some family lines have produced in generations. They are learning in the wordless place where children actually learn. That visions get completed. That walls get built. That a calling is not a wistful thing adults sigh about, but a thing you watched someone close thread by thread at a kitchen table. You know exactly what it cost you to grow up without that picture. You are looking at what it will mean for them to grow up with it. Whole brain activation. The old teachers would not have used those words, but they knew the truth under them. What is restored in one generation is inherited by the next, not through blood alone, but through witness. And now, before the final blessing, I must be honest with you about this exact minute. Because if you are honest with yourself, there is something you already know you are supposed to do next. Not generally, specifically. Something has been named tonight that was waiting years to be named. And clarity like this does not keep. It is Kairos fruit, it ripens. If part of your next step is the tool, If what the genius switch restores is the peace your covenant work has been waiting on, then go now while the knowing is warm. The link is waiting in the description below and in the pinned comment. Open it before the world gets its hands on your attention again. Before the phone rings, before the old current catches you. More than 18,000 people stood exactly in this minute, felt exactly this leaning, and made the quiet decision their unfinished years had been begging for. Not eventually now. And if your next step does not include the tool, then honor the same minute the same way. Open your calendar and set the appointed hour. Choose the small thread you will close tomorrow. Let no version of you leave this message unchanged. Stay with me now. Do not drift, because before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life, over the assignment that has begun in you, and over every unfinished thing waiting on your restoration. What comes next is not information. It is the sealing. Find a position where your body can be still, and if it is safe to do so, let your eyes close, because the mind builds deepest in the dark. We are going to do this together slowly, and I will hold the lantern. Take one breath that goes all the way to the bottom. And as it leaves, let it carry the noise of the day out with it. Another good. Now I want you to see a hillside just before dawn. Gray light dew on the grass, and on that hillside an altar. You know this altar, because you have been building it your whole life. Look at the stones. Some are bright and recent. Some are old and moss-covered, laid by a 7-year-old with sure hands. And look there, the gap where the building stopped, the ragged edge where every coming down left the work. Now watch what happens. You walk to the edge of the altar, and in your hands is a single stone. It is not heavy. It never was. It is the first small thread, the one you will close tomorrow, and it fits the gap on the ragged edge, as if it had been cut for it years ago, because it was. Set it in place. Hear the small complete sound stone makes when it finds its home. Feel that sound in your chest. That is what completion actually feels like, not fireworks but a fitting. And understand what you are seeing. The altar was never abandoned. It was waiting. An unfinished altar holds no fire, but a finished one. Chosen one, a finished one draws fire down. So see it finished. Stand back on the wet grass and watch the last stone go in. Some morning not far from now, and watch what descends. Not a spectacle, a warmth, a settled flame that does not consume the altar but completes it. The presence your whole restless life has been an appetite for. And notice who is standing beside the fire. It is the version of you the divided years said would never exist. The finisher, whole-minded, both halves home breathe once more. And as you breathe in, let that picture come with the air down into the place where you keep what is true. Then let your hands remember it, the fitting of the stone, so that tomorrow when you close the first small thread, your body already knows the sound. Open your eyes here at the end. I have no more arguments for you, only gratitude. Someone carried a life full of unfinished things through years that would have broken softer people, and still had enough hunger left to stay to the end of a message like this. That someone is you, and heaven saw every mile of it. The flatness you survived, the invitations you refused. The mornings you began again with no evidence. It was all seen, all counted, all kept. And now before the ceiling, we lay the weight down. Breathe in slowly. And as you breathe out, release the years you spent blaming yourself for a division you did not choose. Breathe again and release the graveyard, every half-built thing into the hands of the one who wastes no thread. Release the labels. Release the record. Release the voices that said too late, too little, too broken. Release the coming down, the counterfeits, the seasons you circled the same beginning. Release the version of you that survived divided with honor like an old soldier thanked and retired. Let it all go down onto the grass, beside the altar where the earth can hold it, because you have an assignment, and the assignment needs your hands empty. Now stand in your spirit if not in your body, because what remains is declaration, and declarations are made on the feet. Say it inwardly with me, or aloud if you are alone, and let each sentence land like a stone finding its home. I am not a starter who fails. I am a finisher who was divided, and the division is ending. I am the one heaven prepared through every unfinished year, and none of it was wasted. I am the carrier of an assignment that has begun, and I do not move on until it is complete. I am the restorer of the instrument, the guardian of the appointed hour, the closer of open things. I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. I am whole, I am summoned. I am able, and the wall will rise in my days. If those words found your voice, then set the final witness in the open. Type the words, I am the finisher, in the comments and understand what you are doing when you do it. You are not commenting. You are signing. Somewhere down the scroll of this page, there are hundreds of others signing beside you tonight. A quiet company of the summoned wall builders, greeting each other across the dark. Let your declaration stand among them, where the interference can read it and lose heart. And before you go, share this prophetic word with your network. Sharing activates the anointing and releases breakthrough to everyone connected to you. Now, chosen one, receive this as you go. May the window stay bright over you, until you have walked all the way through it. May the small closures gather like rain, until the ground of your life runs with finished things. May the appointed hour be defended by hands you cannot see. May the fog retreat from your mornings. And may the two halves of your beautiful, battered, chosen mind come home to each other and hold. What heaven has begun in you, heaven will complete. Your part was never to be enough. Your part was to stay on the wall. Stay on the wall. It is sealed. Amen. You are about to enter your divine future, but remember this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary, where we discuss the Word daily, and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary, where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.